So my name is Avi Wisnia, and today I'd like to tell you about a word and a foreign culture that revealed something about my nature that I never really expected. And I'm going to start my story here in Cape May, New Jersey. Some friends of mine have a beach house nearby, and recently, during a particularly rough creative dry spell, they invited me to borrow their house while they were away so I could kind of break through my songwriter's block. And so one beautiful summer day, I packed up my car, I drove down to the shore, I took out my keyboard, I set it up inside the house, I sat down, got ready to play, and nothing. Nothing. I was very uninspired and extremely frustrated. And I was so frustrated that on the second day, I remember I just had to get out of the house. So I went outside, and I went around back to the backyard, which seemed like a perfectly reasonable place to give up in despair. And I just laid down. And from my position in the grass, there was nothing else really to do but look up. So I looked up. And there was the sky, this perfect, cloudless sky, blue sky. And as I'm staring at the sky, this feeling starts to creep over me, a very familiar feeling, this kind of deep melancholy, a kind of ambiguous nostalgia, a longing I couldn't quite articulate. And from this feeling, as I'm looking at the sky, a melody starts to reveal itself and unravel. And so I let it hang, and I let it grow for a few minutes. And then I realized I should probably get inside to the piano and capture it before it's gone. Lower down the mast, sailing out to sea. The sun is setting fast behind us. Silver shades and beer, just like a movie star. Side to side, you play your cavaquinho. Sky, blue sky, blue sky. 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 Everyone we know has come to meet us here, leaving all the world behind us, throwing arms around, swaying with the wind, side to side, you play your cavaquinho. Sky, blue sky, blue sky. 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 Slowing down the tide, deep the air. The sun is rising fast behind us. Your voice comes in waves, gentle on the breeze. Worlds collide. You play your cavaquinho. Sky, blue sky, blue sky. 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 Bem donde. Now, it's not lost on me how unlikely it is that this Brazilian influence sound is what came to me in that moment. I mean, especially considering where I come from. I'm a Jew from Jersey. No one in my family is Brazilian. No one even listened to Brazilian music growing up around me. I mean, I think if my heritage had the last word, I'd probably be singing in the grand cantorial traditions of Eastern Europe. But my world opened up with the song Girl from Ipanema. You know it? I guess it's possible some of you may not be familiar with this song. I mean, maybe you've never taken a ride in an elevator before. But this song is one of the most recognizable and most recorded songs in our modern music catalog. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from, good. You get the idea. I really took notice of this song after I left home and went off to college. And this song kind of served as a gateway drug into the world of bossa nova for me. And with this song as my entry point, I started listening to artists like João Gilberto, Antonio Carlos Jobim, Baden Powell, Elis Regina. This music was so different from anything I had heard before. And the more I listened, the more I fell in love. But it was more than that even. I found myself identifying with this bossa nova sound. The tranquility, the subtlety. The way it seemed so simple on the surface, yet had such depth and complexity to it. These songs were steeped in that very same emotion I would feel looking at that sky blue sky in Cape May, New Jersey years later. This kind of complex nostalgia, this paradoxically happy melancholy. And I've actually been drawn to this feeling my whole life. It's something I often seek out. I remember when I was younger and I started developing my own music collection, I often gravitated towards the last song on every album. You know, the last song is typically a little bit more mellow, more personal, more introspective, more intimate. And as I started getting into bossa nova and listening to bossa nova albums, it occurred to me that these albums were full of last songs on the album. Every song was a last song on the album. And more than that, I found that here within the culture of bossa nova, there is a singular Portuguese word which describes that very complicated feeling that the music that I love often inspired in me. The word is saudade. Now, this song does not have an equivalent in English. There is no direct translation. But the word, the best definition of the word that I can give you is the feeling that remains when love is out of reach. And when I discovered the existence of this word, it brought on the kind of feeling of relief and satisfaction that comes with going to the doctor and finding out that there is a word for what's actually wrong with you. Except I didn't feel there was anything wrong with me, just the opposite. I felt connected. In 2011, I was invited to perform in Brazil, and I took the occasion to visit the actual beach of Ipanema in Rio de Janeiro. And as I'm walking along the promenade near the beach, I came across these two teenage kids swapping songs on guitar. And as we started talking, and they found out I was American and a musician, they enthusiastically shoved the guitar into my hands, and they demanded with these 4 words, "Red Hot Chili Peppers." That's the band they love more than anything else, and that's what they wanted to sing with me. Now, I don't know what their road to discovery of the Chili Peppers was, but it got me thinking about my road to discovery of Bossa Nova. And it got me thinking about why we like the things we like. And it got me thinking that it must be that we like the things we like, and especially the music that we love, because it reflects something about our very nature, regardless of cultural boundaries. So when I think of the music that I make and the influences that I have, like Bossa Nova, I recognize that they may not speak to where I come from, but they certainly speak to who I am. So this last song that I'm going to play for you is kind of thinking about those influences and thinking about where I come from. And I often ask myself, where do my influences stop and I begin? I wrote this song to try and answer that question, and I recognize that instead of answering the question, I embraced the question. This song is called Something New, and it's dedicated to every song ever. Cinnamon was sitting by a shady tree, waiting for the breeze to roll by. She had everyone down on their hands and knees, searching for a piece of her time. But all the lonely people, they couldn't bear with seeing her frown. Yeah, she never noticed, yeah, sure they could stop, but they'd miss the pain of bending down. Yeah, every day is the same as tomorrow. Yeah, every tomorrow is yesterday's news. That's 'cause we're always singing the same old song. Yeah, I guess it's time for something new. Cinnamon walked in a movie studio. That's where she fell in love with Joe. How it happened, I don't know. It was a boom operator. A boom operator. They're making a sequel with the same plot as the first, only with different actors saying the lines. If there's anything I've learned, he says, is that only the weak survive. Every day is the same as tomorrow. Every tomorrow is yesterday's news. That's 'cause we're always singing the same old song. I guess it's time for something new. Joe left Cinnamon later that month because he couldn't pick her out in the crowd. He couldn't find her latte in the sea of Frappuccino, so he left her there to figure it out. Go on now, Joe, walk out the door. Don't turn around now, 'cause you'll only cry. You've got to pull out on that highway road and get yourself to Kinko's and buy a box to think outside. Every day is the same as tomorrow. Every tomorrow is yesterday's news. That's 'cause we're always singing the same old song. I guess it's time for something new. Something new. With the windows down, the unfiltered, it will take him wherever he's never been. All he had was a tune in his head, but not knowing how to make it his. And as he drives into the sunset, every single station sings to him how ironic it is. Every